48-hour art check, round 111.
Yes.
Sitting oddly far from my mic right now for some reason.
48-hour art check.
All right. Okay, so this will be a fun one.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Okay. I got 2 more stickers done. And so you're seeing the robots are coming, melting typewriter. And then honestly, this is a stupid one. It's just like a dumb pun with drum roll. And then I got very little inking done. I got a couple more of the mermaids done. And I've got some more to do of that tonight. So kind of bare minimum progress because I was fighting some software and snow and other things. So
It looks like good progress, and man, that melting typewriter is really nice. I like the color too. Your color sense is really saturated, and it's nice to see.
Oh, thanks.
It's really good.
Yeah. So how about you?
All right. I'm not where I'd like to be. I finished penciling page 3. So what I need to do tonight, well, I'll get into that, but it's not where I'd like to be. And then I finished the hand lettering and borders for the next page of quarterly stories. So I'm like kind of close to where I thought I'd be, but I have a little bit more work to do. Like what I hope to do, well, we'll get into that with plans and stuff. But yeah, similarly, just life has been hectic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited to see this page inked. Lot of action. It's looking cool. So yeah, challenges. Where to start? So I'm on hiring committees, and we're having people doing. We flew some people in to teaching demos and all that stuff, and so like, and then Monday was a holiday, and so I had to like jam like 2 lectures into 1 lecture, and then leave class to go see this teaching demo, and then race back, and then it's just been like yesterday and today have just been nonstop back to back where you have nothing but meetings and no time in between meetings. Like literally meetings are bleeding into meetings, and you're like running from building to building. And then I get home, and the snow plow is like plowed in all my neighbors, and so I had to help like dig people out so that they could get in and out of their houses. And then I sat down.
Oh man.
So, yeah, and I'm not getting the sleep that I know I need to be getting because I can't get started on a sticker stint until like 9 o'clock at night, and then I still have to ink, and so it's like yeah, I'm running out of ideas and sketches, which is going to be problematic really soon. So,
Oh no.
but yeah, how about you?
So my big challenges are very similar. Like there's just been a slew of meetings at my work that lead into meetings, and
Yeah.
it's exhausting. And by the time I'm done, then I'm on my way home, and there's unusual weather. And in California, people react to rain similar to where they react to snow elsewhere. That's like undrivable. So everyone's driving like 2 miles an hour. So I get home later.
Yeah.
And similarly, yeah, my window to work is like usually 9. And so it's just gradually feeling myself getting more and more behind on personal projects. Is a little demoralizing, but at the same time, I think that maybe our topic can be rest versus unrest. That might be a good one because we were trying to think of a topic. We're both, I think, in a similar boat.
Yeah.
And so maybe that can be our topic. So what's your plans?
So I need to get some more sketches done. I've also got a fairly big client that's negotiating a retainer that I'm considering taking on, and then a smaller client. And I'm trying to decide how much I want to do with that. and whether or not I want to build a quasi-agency kind of loose team of freelancers to take on some of this stuff. And then I need to finish this page. It just has to get done. I don't know if I'll get that done by Friday, but definitely by the weekend. So I need some significant progress on it by then. And 2 more stickers. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to keep, like at this point, I'm just going to keep like the momentum, even though it feels like I don't have momentum. I still have forward momentum. So I'm just going to keep pushing in that direction until I can take a nap at some point.
Nice. Yeah, that actually sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Squatchy Inc. in the chat said, "What's up, fellas?" And Scott said, "Hey, brother Squatch." So it's nice to see everybody showing up again in the chats. Thanks for showing up again. It's nice. And it gives us a little boost of energy when we're like right in the middle of the hundreds challenge. So
yeah,
and among other challenges.
Right.
So okay, so my plans are just basically tonight I'd like to work on the inks for just the panel borders and the lettering for the dragon story, which will take longer because the lettering's a little more complicated, but I think it's well worth it, and I'm pretty excited about the 2 pages I have. Not excited about the prospect of scanning them and piecing them together, but but I am. It's cool to be at the halfway point. So yeah, so that's pretty much my plans.
And for people that aren't aware, you have to piece those together not because you have a small scanner, but because you work at like a ridiculously large size, right? Do you work 20 by 30?
24 by 19. So
oh, okay, 19 by 24.
Like very large, very large pages.
Yeah, there's some huge pages, man.
But I kind of like it because it's one of those kind of no-brainers for me where I was like wanting my pages to look a certain way, and then I was like remembering some basics of illustration and basics of writing, and was like, oh, you're supposed to draw bigger.
Right.
So not that much bigger. Most cartoonists do like 11 by 17 or something like that.
Yeah, I do 11 by 17. And it seems big, but it actually is pretty fast at that size, and it does look good when you reduce it.
Yeah, I do like these though because like they're like if I ever get around to selling originals, I think people are going to feel pretty good about getting this big substantial page.
Yeah,
that's a standard frame size, but it's like big,
Yeah.
Hopefully that pays off. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I do like it, and I also notice cost-wise, it's not all that different. So
yeah, oh, that's cool. Just time-wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's weird though because some of it saves me time because I can be a little looser.
Right.
Because it'll reduce down and look better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I believe that I got a call today that is the final nail in the coffin of a thing that we've been dealing with for a number of months. It didn't really fit into challenges because it's good news, but like my adopted son is now fully covered by our insurance. So
sweet.
And he's 8 months old, and we adopted him at birth, and so it only took that long to get all the legal stuff done. So that's actually a huge burden lifted because we've been paying out of pocket for his hospital bills since then, and so that will go away, which will be kind of a stress reliever, which is also making me question whether I want to take on extra freelance work. But yeah, I always feel weird turning it down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway,
that's good news though. So is that I don't want to get into too much, but is that retroactive or is that just from today forward?
Yeah, no, it's retroactive back to day one. So
yes, that's really good news.
And so we don't know if it'll be a wash and we just have to stop paying because we paid some at this point, or if we'll get a little bit of a refund from somebody. We're not sure, but ultimately, I don't think we'll have to pay out of pocket anymore because I'm almost certain we've reached our deductible and exceeded it. So. Yeah, so that'll be good because we don't really like debt, and we've been chasing our credit card, since then, just because we don't have enough to cover everything, and so it's not out of control, and we've been able to keep it within like a reasonable amount, but like any amount kind of stresses
Yeah.
both of us out. So
Yeah, well, it's unplanned for expenses, which is always really frightening. And expenses to that extent when a kid's that age, I'm relieved for you. That's really good
yeah,
news.
yeah. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, so Squatchy in the chat says he wants the I don't want to cuss on here, but you can read my languagey page that I've been working on. So
Oh, cool.
I'll keep tabs on that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Yeah,
so we,
I think people in the 48-hour community should get first dibs on your pages once you decide to sell them.
I like that idea. So maybe when I get to that point, I will think about it.
Because I've
It's
got,
weird.
yeah,
It's the one thing that's crazy about having this many pages in and where it's hand lettered. It's like there's that weird collector side of me that like wants to hold on to them,
right.
which is silly. But it's like it's so cool if I did like a gallery show or something where I could actually
Yeah.
show like have the whole story there. So I don't know. I'll have to try to do something like that. But yeah, definitely if it's available online, I can say right now I'll try to offer it exclusively to the 48-hour Artcheck community, maybe like a week beforehand. That's
Yeah.
actually a really good idea.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, because this is like our crew. So
Yeah.
So okay, well, so for topics, do you want to delve into that? Just kind of like rest versus unrest. Does that sound interesting to you?
Yeah, and I think and I know this will be disappointing to people that have showed up, but I'm like barely. I've got a 7 a.m. meeting, and then I've got a all the way till 7 p.m. is booked solid, and so I'm gonna go to bed. So
Yeah.
so I think we'll cut this one kind of short. But yeah, rest versus unrest. So okay, today's topic is rest versus unrest. And there's a number of ways that we could take this topic, but Josh and I are both really exhausted, and so I think we're in a state of unrest at the moment. Mainly in not so much turmoil, but in just like we're not as well rested as we can. And I remember reading the Jason Bourne books, the Bourne Identity, and like the original trilogy, not the ghost written trilogy where they still use the guy's name.
Got it.
And one of the things that was really cool that he came across like one of his buddies that was in war with him and whatever, and he started having these flashbacks. And one of the lessons that he learned that kept him alive was sleep is a weapon. And oftentimes I think that's one of those weapons that I neglect to my detriment, where I just need to get one more thing done. But what happens to me is if I'm up against a deadline and I'm like, oh man, I've only got 20 minutes before this thing starts, or I've only got an hour before, to fit this in. Like I work efficiently and I work fast. But if it's like the end of the day and I've already knocked 2 or 3 things out and it's the last thing, I can complete it and then keep noodling on it for another 45 minutes to an hour or whatever. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, cool. It's 1:30 in the morning. And like, I actually kind of wrapped this up by midnight, and I've just been kind of like spinning my wheels. And so
Yeah.
I kind of need to get better at like giving myself a bedtime, I think. And I think that if I treat that as if it was a deadline, I think I can work efficiently, and I'll just
Yeah.
have to figure out a different way to wind down than like just like noodling on art, because you can just kind of pick at it forever.
Yeah. No, I think that one thing I've experienced is generally like the first thing to go when I haven't slept in a bit is a little bit of judgment, not like a ton,
Right.
but just my judgment isn't on point like at 100%. So I
Yeah.
think like for me, I do catch myself noodling too when I'm exhausted, a little more than I'd need to. Like I could just call it, and yet I'm continuing it. I also have this weird thing that happens after completing a personal project. Like it's like a reward that I feel, and then it gives me this very brief little high, but that will usually equate to like me watching a video or listening to a book, and it's like 1 in the morning when I'm doing this, which is
Right.
absurd.
Yeah.
But it's like hard to kind of like, once you get that little boost of like finishing, to kind of continue. So to me, I think I struggle with the latter for sure. Like what what you're describing for sure, which is just being tempted to just kind of overdo it. And you guys can back up to like our episode on burnout and stuff, but it's risking that when you're missing sleep.
Yeah.
So to me, I think because that's probably one of our big struggles. Maybe we can, like that's a good version of it. The one thing I'd say, because I think we got about 5 minutes left. But the one thing I'd say to the adverse is actually it's been a strength as well for me. So that becomes problematic because
Yeah.
I've been very rewarded in my life for when everyone's sleeping, working on my stuff.
Right.
So it's very hard to kind of take away that system and be like, well, that's not, like to take away the thing that I feel is giving me an edge. And you've expressed this too on here before, but I've never been the fastest artist.
Right.
And so the advantage I've always had over a lot of other artists is just persistence and like spending literally more time to get it knocked out, pretty much on an equal level as like the really great people who are really fast.
Right.
And so that's, to me, it's kind of this catch-22, because I feel like with a kid and with my job, if I sleep too much, I'm literally not going to see anything get done until my kid's graduating from college.
Right.
However, if I sleep too little, I may not survive my kid graduating from college.
Yeah, or you could bring on like Alzheimer's or something. I mean,
Exactly.
there are studies done that, like, if you persistently get not enough sleep, that you're actually damaging your brain in the long term, and it brings on, early set dementia and that type of thing. That terrifies me. That I'm just like, I'm gonna get a bunch of books done, and then when I turn 70, I'm gonna lose my mind because I just didn't sleep long enough or whatever. But at the same time, it also terrifies me to get plenty of sleep, and then at 70, I'm like, oh, I've never accomplished anything. I just made money and spent money, and then I don't have anything to show for it. So there's like that balance.
Yeah, and there's a phrase that's thrown around among designers that always comes to mind to me, especially when I was dealing with students, because when you're at that age, I think if you're an art student, you really should be, or a college student, you really should be pulling some all-nighters on your work.
Right.
Because that's the time where your body can take it. But then again, even college students like suffer from that, like burnout and the possibility of going too far or studying too long to where the studying becomes reductive instead of additive. And so it's but anyhow, that saying's pretty good, which is just basically like, normal people dream when they're asleep, and designers dream when they're awake. And so it's like and there's also another phrase that's really popular among designers, which is just don't sleep.
Or I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, so it's a rough balance, and I personally don't have an answer to it. And it's funny, we have all these topics where a lot of the time the resolution is like, there's not necessarily an answer.
I think one of the answers is treating your time management as if it's essential, because I think oftentimes I probably could have gotten more done earlier in the day. If I treated, like my lunch hour like I do, my 9 to midnight hours, or, if like, and I've been doing this because I have to, because I'm in the middle of 2 challenges. I'm finishing this 4-page comic, and I'm also doing the sticker stint. And so at this point in time, it's like high pressure. And so I have to kind of steal moments, where, if nobody's paying attention to me, I'm gonna run downstairs and get 10 minutes of inking in, or whatever. And so I think that high pressure kind of makes it more. But then maintaining that because what is that? I can't remember the name of the principle. It's not the Peterson principle. There's a principle where whatever the time allowed, the task will expand to fill that time. And so if you allow yourself an hour and a half, it's going to take you an hour and a half to get it done. If you allow yourself 45 minutes, it's going to take you 45 minutes to get it done. There's a certain like floor where, you just physically can't go any faster. But usually adding more time doesn't increase the quality as much as just make you less effective at knocking that thing out.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would say that's actually a testament for why like the 100 days challenge is really good, because it's developing the kind of sustainable habit that I think you need in order to take on personal projects, which is like, having a minimum that you have to hit. And on a good day, you're going to exceed that minimum, but you're not going to beat yourself up if you hit the minimum and you don't.
Yeah.
And that actually works really well. I think before that, I was doing like a panel a day was my challenge, which is still what I try to hit.
Yeah.
But I figure if I'm getting a panel a day done, I have friends who'll spend like, a good 16-hour session and have never, like per week, and have never finished a graphic novel in like knowing them for like 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
And so in order to take on a big project like that, I think you have to have sustained dedication. But you're right in the idea of like having a time limit wouldn't be a bad idea. And then also just a little bit of forgiveness, because like we're both type A personalities. And so one thing that's pretty common with that is a very strong lack of self-forgiveness when it comes to just not hitting the point, So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to fall asleep. So let's call it.
Cool. Squatchy in the chats said this subject hits a little too close to living with sleeping issues my whole life. And actually, that's a really good kind of segue for maybe continuing this topic, because I think when we're possibly a little more awake, we can hit it better. Thanks for joining us in the chats, guys.
Yeah. And as always, we're going to be doing stuff on the podcast as well. And even if you guys are just watching these videos, go like download and leave a review on the podcast, because that's kind of like the only type of like marketing or SEO you can do in those apps is ratings and reviews. So we'd really appreciate it. And if you want to check out Josh's stuff, as always, go to quarterlystories.com. And you want to check out my stuff, as always, go to corykerr.com. You're on Josh's channel right now, so give him a like and a subscribe and ring that bell. You guys all rock. We'll catch you later.
Bye.